Good evening. Today it is October 15, 2018. This is the second task of Colombian Education, and this is Group 551035-43, and our tutor is Diana Sofia Grisales. As the rubric is requesting us, we have to record or to have a video of a debate about the topics we had in the forum. In this case, we are going to talk about Colombian education. The introduction begins with a little story about the law created in 2015 by the government of Colombia, the law 1753, called the National Development Plan law, which aims to build up a more educated, equitable, and peaceful Colombia. This law claims education as the most powerful instrument for a social equality and economical growth. In a long future term, more specific by the year 2025, this law is oriented to close the gaps in the access and quality of our education system. For this exercise, we have two classmates who are going to be for this idea, and the government claims, and we are going to have other two classmates who are against this idea. The topic sentence that we have for this debate is going to be the government claims that Colombia can be one of the most educated countries by the year 2025. In this order of ideas, we are going to have our two classmates who are for, and they are Daniela and Carolina. And the people who are against this idea are Carlos and Margie. To begin this debate, Carolina, please give us your idea.
Okay, in my opinion, the current educative policies tries to improve education coverage, educative quality and teachers training, although it's enough but it's a process. Men implement different strategies like curriculums, basic rights of learning, standards. The idea with this is have an equal education and advance in all the cities.
Carolina, thank you very much for the idea you just shared with us. Okay, now we are going to listen to a person who is against this idea, who is Margie Catherine.
I believe that the government is affirming sometimes that they cannot control. One thing to say and another is could you. Let's see the investment it makes toward education and less than the investment to defense. And this is sometimes that we must take into account resources are very poorly distributed. Also, we have seen how this little investment has taken to monitor that it is stolen by the different people of power. For example, food, resources for inflation that make education and deteriorate every.
Margie, thank you very much for your idea. Okay, having the last two people to participate, we have Daniela. Daniela is a student who is for this idea, the government claims to have a more educated Colombia by the year 2025. Daniela, please, your idea.
Dear peers, I am agree when you mention that Colombia is one of the countries that invests least in education. But I think that in the last 20 years, the Colombian education system has undergone an important transition with an emphasis of improving quality and increasing coverage, meaning that all the initiatives that the government has launched to address the task of providing access to quality education have shown positive and significant results, allowing the students from all economic backgrounds to benefit from these education opportunities and be active and competitive agents of this globalized world. This is my opinion.
Daniela, thank you very much for sharing the research that you did over that topic. Now we are going to have another person who is against this idea, who is Juan Carlos Benjumea. So go ahead, Juan Carlos.
Colombia is one of the countries that invest least in education, and we are not only on the international list, and that we are in educational and financial institutions, we are all and obsolete. The equipment in very poor condition and little, and that says the lack of didactic materials that should support the pedagogical practice of the teacher to achieve good learning students. Ultimately, we touch the teacher, the main actor in education, who must adjust his pedagogical practice to an educational system divorced from the social reality of the country, and that today is more linked to an activity and format than the time for our students. In many cases, they do not enrich them cognitively, and to conclude that the shoulders of the teacher have been the mistakes and educational needs of a society that does not have as a state policy to prioritize investment in education, that the teacher is trained, researchers, and puts the heart and soul to his beautiful task of teaching, educating, and training.
As a conclusion, and having in mind everyone's participation in this debate, I can say that there is little progress in this field because the Colombian government hasn't invested what is necessary to do in order to achieve the purposes we have had. In fact, for example, we planned to have Colombia bilingual by the bilingual Colombia by the year 2018, but since the resources haven't been like enough and the government hasn't put a lot of effort on these projects, they had to postpone the deadline for this project. So let's wait and let's hope that this project about having a Colombian more educated doesn't last too much to be achieved. Okay, and now we are going to have some questions about another topic that we have that is very important. What are the advantages and disadvantages in Colombia education system? Uh, we are going to have the participation of the five people in the group. First, I'm going to give my opinion, then Daniela, then Margie, then Carolina, and then Juan Carlos. Although Colombia has had some improve about this aspect, I think it is necessary to work more on some projects that we have had, like we have the Teaching Excellence program or strategies that the Colombian government has created to achieve a better education, unified schedule, which is working nowadays and it is giving good results. Bilingual Colombia, let's remember that we need to work hard on this topic because we need to have at least a B2 um, level in all Colombia, illiteracy free, and more access to higher education quality. Um, it is necessary to remember that these are efforts the government has to make in order to have an inclusive education in all the country and to guarantee access to students everywhere in Colombia, every corner in Colombia, in order to be educated as we deserved.
Okay, for me, one advantages is trained professionals and the future of the world. And another can be the big opportunity with the inclusion and the full day schooling, because the student can have a good academic process to acquire the knowledge and the opportunity to spend time inside the school, but practicing other activities that enrich their personal process. And one disadvantage is that the resources, since most of them are lost due to corrupt acts, and prevent the assurance of educational guarantees.
The educational system in Colombia has the advantage of the offering variety in educational institutions, and modernly has online for teaching students in Colombia for English. One of the disadvantages our educational system in the lack of the training of the teachers towards new areas that essential such as TIC or English, often because they do not want to take a stage toward innovation.
In my opinion, the advantages in public schools are the teachers are qualified because there are many tests that assessment and see the level of education of them, and this show that our teachers are professionals. The disadvantages, due to bad money and corruption, some places such as rural schools do not have enough resources to guarantee adequate education with update guidelines such as use of TIC tools, adequate buildings or infrastructure, and food coverage, and even helps for let students move from far places to schools.
Now I want to talk about the advantages and disadvantages. One advantage that I see in Colombian education is that we have a new idea, right? We have a new goal. That in 2025 will be Colombia will be better educated. To have that idea, it means you had to change the thinking, the old practices that we're using that are now making the goal possible. So that's an advantage that we had to think, find other ways to make to be better as other countries are. So that's an advantage that we have a challenge in front of us that we had to start thinking differently to achieve the goal we are looking for. So to have that goal for 2020, 2025, it means that we have to change our always. And the disadvantage is that I see that a lot of students they don't have enough uh, money to go to school. They sometimes they are hungry. They don't eat breakfast. The schools are old, dirty, and they have too many students in every classroom. So there's a big disadvantage we have because when you are hungry and you're full of students, the teacher, how can he deal with so many students in a classroom? That's impossible. So how can the teaching is going to be good when you have to give the support to every student to give the tool they need. So that's a big disadvantage we have.